The pelagic horizon, a cathedral of steel and intent, prepared for 18 months for this single purpose.
Their target, a wreck lost since 1942. Within it, a fortune that has waited in silence for 7 decades. The Empress carried more than supplies. In her fortified hold sat 412 gold bars.
Their key to the abyss, the Abyssal Star. A submersible built to withstand pressures that would crush anything else. At dawn, the ocean accepted the submersible without ceremony, swallowing it into the deepening blue.
Inside the pressure hull, 3 specialists began a descent into an environment more hostile than the moon.
In the eternal night, life announced itself with its own light, a silent, living constellation.
At 1,000 meters, they entered the realm where human eyes are useless. The pilot brought the sun with him. The gauge marked their passage into a world of crushing pressure and eternal cold. Few had seen it. At 2,100 meters, sonar painted the first shapes, the seabed, and their target.
The middle-aged East Asian male pilot arrested his fall, achieving neutral buoyancy. He had arrived at the doorstep of history.
They moved through a sculpture garden of collapse, navigating the scattered remnants of the ship's final moments.
The recovery specialist guided them. The cargo hold lay amidships, buried beneath a collapse of steel.
Access was blocked. Their first task, to clear the way. The sub's manipulator arms reached out, human intention translated into titanium and hydraulic fluid.
The deep ocean echoed with the sound of tearing metal. And then, visibility dropped to 0.
In the abyss, you must have patience. Currents move with geological slowness.
10 minutes later, the water cleared. The path was open. And there, in the darkness, something reflected their light with a promise made of pure, inert metal.
The plan required precision. The sub could not lift the gold. It would attach cables for the ship's winches above. Each movement was deliberate. A mistake could mean losing the load, or worse, damaging the sub. The first connection was made. A steel thread now linked the abyss to the world of air and light.
2 miles above, on the rolling deck, a winch operator took the strain. The long haul began.
The bars shifted, freed from decades of sediment. They began their 2-mile journey upward.
The process became a rhythm. Descent, attach, ascend, lift. Each cycle took hours.
As the gold neared the surface, other machines took over, guiding the precious load.
We're approaching the docking clamp.
Confirmed. Engaging stabilizers. Locking it down now.
Finally, after 7 hours, the first load broke the surface. Water fell away in sheets. The first physical proof of success emerged from the deep.
The metallic clang was a sound 70 years in the making. A fortune returned.
For 17 days, The pelagic horizon became a vertical elevator between two worlds. Fatigue accumulated. The deep environment was unforgiving of even minor errors.
Slowly, the hold was emptied. The fortune that had waited for decades was leaving its tomb.
On a gray, foggy morning, the final cables were secured. The last of the Empress's secret cargo.
With the last of its treasure retrieved, the submersible turned its back on the wreck for the final time.
It climbed through the crushing pressure layers, returning to the world where humans belong.
The deck transformed. The gold was safe, but still wore the deep sea on its skin.
The next phase began, the patient archaeology of cleaning, revealing the metal from its ocean shroud.
Marine growth, sediment, decades of microscopic accumulation, all washed away under freshwater pressure.
Each bar had its own story, its own pattern of colonization from the deep ecosystem.
Gold's true character appeared. A warmth that seems to glow from within, not merely reflect light.
The work continued for days. A symphony of water jets under a canvas canopy far out at sea.
The final bar was cleaned. The transformation from deep-sea artifact to pure commodity was complete.
$412 bars, 11,000 pounds of recovered history, a fortune in sunlight.
To touch, it seemed almost to diminish the scale of the achievement. The metal was merely the proof.
The true value wasn't in the gold, but in the chain of human effort that had pulled it from the crushing dark.
The sun began to set, painting the clouds.
The ocean kept its deepest secrets and its deepest graves.
Each number told a story, from mint to vault, from a wartime ship to a deep-sea tomb, and now here.
For the captain, this was the successful end of a long logistical ballet, a symphony of machines and men.
The next phase began, securing the fortune for its journey back to the world of vaults and ledgers.
Each bar was cocooned, insulated from the elements that had cradled it for so long.
Behind locked doors, the gold returned to a state of secure transit, its journey not yet complete. The ship held its treasure through the night. The ocean, for now, was a calm custodian.
The recovery is confirmed.
Satellite calls were made. The investors, the governments, the insurers, all were notified. Success was official.
With the gold secured, the meticulous work of demobilization began. The mission's purpose was gone.
Every piece of equipment, from the largest crane to the smallest tool, required care before the voyage home.
The abyssal star, their key to the abyss, received its own cleansing, its duty gloriously fulfilled.
Physical and mental well-being were monitored. The strain of prolonged, high-stakes work took its toll. In the heart of the ship, a feast was prepared, a tangible, shared reward for shared effort.
For the first time in weeks, the tension was gone. They were just a crew, sharing a meal after a job well done. For some, the return to the mundane world was a decompression as profound as the sub's ascent.
The captain's words were simple. He spoke of precision, of patience, of the privilege of touching history.
We got it all. Coming home soon.
Private victories were shared across the void, voices traveling thousands of miles to waiting families.
The pelagic horizon turned from a stationary work platform back into a ship, ready to move.
All stations secure for transit. Set course for port. The coordinates were entered.
They left a circle of churned water behind, the only surface marker of the grave and the treasure below.
And in the ship's belly, the gold began its final voyage, its long odyssey nearly complete.
Some offered a token back to the sea, a superstitious thank you for its cooperation, or perhaps its forgiveness.
The return journey was a time of decompression, of the slow shift from mission focus to homecoming. The official record was straightforward. It could not capture the quiet pride that filled the ship.
After weeks of empty horizon, the first electronic hint of the world they'd left behind appeared.
Land, look, do you see it?
Yes, I see the smoke. We are almost there.
After all this time.
The world rushed back in. The scent of land, the noise of life, the crowded horizon. The specialized world of the open ocean gave way to the standardized choreography of port operations. With gentle thuds, the lines were made fast. The journey of the gold and the crew was over.
A different kind of team was waiting. The representatives of law, finance, and ownership.
The transfer began. From the ship's secure hold to armored trucks, under the watchful eyes of many.
Every seal, every serial number was checked and double-checked. The chain of custody was absolute. And
it took hours. The fortune that had taken weeks to raise was moved ashore in a single, tense afternoon. With the last container gone, a strange quiet fell on the ship. Its central purpose had physically departed. The gold disappeared into the system, to be counted, verified, divided, and absorbed into the global economy.
The formalities concluded with signatures. The legal and financial machinery ground into its next phase.
Then, the crew stepped ashore. The ground felt unnaturally still, the air thick and smells overwhelming.
For the lucky ones, homecoming was immediate and warm, a powerful reminder of what they worked for.
For others, the return was quieter, more private. The deep sea was a solitary memory to be processed alone. The ship was left to the port services. Its decks, once alive with frantic purpose, were now just empty steel.
In anonymous offices far inland, the fortune was quantified. Shares were calculated to the decimal point.
The transition was not always smooth. The mind could linger in the silent, weightless world of the abyss.
The transition was not always smooth. The mind could linger in the silent, weightless world of the abyss.
some shared the story, turning raw experience into inspiration for the next generation of engineers and explorers.
The ship was refurbished, its specialized equipment checked. It was a tool, ready for the next client, the next mission. The submersible, too, was improved. The lessons from the deep were encoded into its next iteration.
The team that had been a single organism for those intense weeks, scattered to the winds of their own lives.
For some, this was the capstone of a career, a final, definitive proof of what they and their ships could do.
Time provided perspective. The achievement settled into memory, its sharp edges softened.
For most, it is just a shiny rock. But for a few, it sparks a question, a wonder about the deep and the past.
The gold's value was converted into digits on a screen, the final step in its journey from tangible weight to abstract wealth. For the specialists, the mission became a line on a resume, a story that opened new, deeper doors.
Some connections to the sea could not be severed. The perspective from above was different, but the pool remained.
Others committed it to private record, preserving the details before time blurred them into mere anecdote.
The mission's legacy wasn't only gold. Scientific samples, data on deep-sea currents, new observations of life. The bonds forged under pressure held. They were a tribe, with a common story no outsider could fully comprehend.
They rarely spoke of the treasure itself. The memories that mattered were of the people and the shared endeavor.
To the Empress.
A toast was always made, not to their success, but to the ship that was both their target and their charge.
The sight of a ship leaving port always carried a different weight for them. A mix of longing and hard-won knowledge.
The ship sailed on. It was a vessel, not a monument. Its future was other deep places, other secrets. A new generation now looked into the deep, driven by their own mix of curiosity, science, and the need for resources.
The submersible's purpose evolved. From recovery
The media circled back, reducing the
Complex human and technical saga to a simple question. Was it worth it?
For those who were there, the question was meaningless. The value was in the doing, not the dividend.
The ocean continued, vast and indifferent. It offered no judgment on those who plumbed its depths for profit or knowledge.
What is it, gold?
No, son. This is about the descent into darkness.
What was it like?
In a child's imagination, the true fortune was sparked, a sense of wonder for the unexplored places of our own planet. The weight of fortune was lifted, distributed, spent. But the weight of the ocean and its stories.
A seed was planted, a curiosity about the maps of the world and the even more mysterious maps of the deep.
The father pointed to a blank blue space. Here, he said, the most important places are often invisible.
The ship aged, a veteran of countless missions. Each scar on its hull told a different story.
All tools have a finite life. Some ships end their days being taken apart, their metals recycled into new forms.
The artifacts of a life at sea became family heirlooms. Stories passed down through sketches and quiet anecdotes.
What did it lift, Grandpa?
The need for context never faded. The scales of history, personal, financial, global.
Some debts of remembrance are paid in silent visits across decades.
The surface above the Empress churned with storms, as it always had. The weather remembered nothing.
And on the abyssal plain, time continued its work. The wreck slowly yielded to gravity and corrosion, grain by grain. Life, always life, moved in to investigate the change. The deep seal's residents are the ultimate custodians. The sparked curiosity followed its course, from a story at bedtime to a field of serious academic study.
But what about the responsibility to the site itself? Not just the prize, but the place.
The questions became more sophisticated.
Some revisit the past with their hands, recreating not the hunter, but the prey, with meticulous, respectful care.
The two totems of his career sat side by side, the vessel lost, and a fragment of the world that claimed it.
The technology matured. The capabilities pioneered for salvage became the foundation for industries yet imagined.
The next generation entered the field, armed with both cutting-edge knowledge and the nuanced stories of the past.
Their mission had become a case study, a reference point in the evolving dialogue between exploration and exploitation.
The circle continued. The father who went into the deep now listened to the son who would design the machines to go deeper.
Dad, we're working on a new acoustic positioning system. It's way more precise than what you had.
The rhythm of the tides offered a different kind of continuity, a daily, gentle reclaiming and revealing of the shore.
Simple, timeless acts, a connection to the water that required no technology, only a stone and a moment.
In a drawer somewhere, a photograph aged, young faces, frozen at the moment of their greatest professional test.
Time passed. The sea, however, remained a constant mirror, reflecting back a different man each time he looked.
Even cathedrals of steel have a final port. The pelagic horizon's story, too, was reaching its end. The cycle was complete. From raw materials to a tool of purpose, back to raw materials again.
For the workers, it was just a job. Another ship, another day's pay. They did not know its stories.
The small memorials left by crews were rarely found, and if they were rarely understood.
New ships were christened. New promises were made to the deep, with better tools and, hopefully, wiser intentions.
The mission had evolved from recovery to understanding. The true treasure, perhaps, was knowledge all along.
The objects remained, waiting to connect with the next person, ready to understand their significance. The fragment of the deep found a new home, watching over the next chapter of exploration.
Gold was data. The submersible was a primitive ancestor. The human effort was a narrative thread.
Life, beautiful and strange, was the permanent resident. The ship was its home, its monument, its accidental gift.
The specific point of human intervention was now just another feature of the landscape, accepted and used.
We leave it as we found it, in darkness, in silence, part of the ocean's own slow, patient processes. The surface is empty, a blank page, always waiting for the next story to be written upon it.
And the ocean, having given up its secret, kept all the others.